Hello boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be taking a look at what I would call my personal rig, which at the moment is in a Phanteks Evolv tempered glass edition. The reason I say at the moment is that my personal rig does tend to change quite a bit, which it will be soon. Previously you may have seen a video, it was in the Case Labs Mercury S5, and I've decided that I'm just going to go ahead and go back to that case for a couple reasons, but I do plan on shooting more videos on that, so we'll go into more of those details when I do that. But before I jump into the details of this particular build, I want to gloss over a couple things. One, you may notice if you've seen the photos that I've taken of this, there's a different graphics card. I actually had shot this video like 3 days ago, and I wasn't really happy with the way it turned out, the video quality. So in the time between shooting it the first time and now, I actually was able to get my hands on a 1080 Ti. So gone is the 1080 that I had for a while, I guess since September. Finally, I've got the 1080 Ti, so I'm pretty happy about that. So ignore the black cables for the 6-pin. I just grabbed some black sleeved cables that I had done for something different and went ahead and used those. So as far as the case goes, you know, I'm not going to say too much about it because, to be quite honest, this is a pretty popular case and there's a lot of really good reviews out there. My opinion is that it's awesome. Anyone that would be considering doing a build in this case, I would definitely recommend it. The build quality is outstanding. Phanteks has a really good attention to detail, so there's a lot of really fun surprises that you find when you're building in this that you kind of say to yourself, wow, you know, this is pretty cool that they thought of this. So I shouldn't say my only, I've probably got a few complaints, but I guess my biggest complaint is that the case it's pretty heavy, which normally isn't that big a deal, but there's not really a good way to handle the case. There's nothing to grab onto, everything's slippery, there's not a ton of room underneath the case to fit your fingers, and every time I have to move this case around, especially when it has the glass panels on it, it's a little touchy. So that's kind of my only gripe with it, but that's not really the end of the world as far as deciding on a case. So I would still recommend it, but just something to kind of look out for if you do decide to use this case. So other than that, I guess I'll go ahead and dive right in here and show you guys some of what I had done. Now, I think it's fairly obvious that there's some panels in this case that are not standard. Again, if you've seen my previous videos, you'll know that I like to use acrylic to sort of create my own panels to kind of enhance the look of the case. Clearly I was going for a silver theme here, so I wanted to bring more silver elements into the interior of the case. So you know, obviously it's silver on the outside, and then I've got the MSI M-Power motherboard, which has got a silver PCB and all the silver accents. Really cool motherboard. It's definitely a different look. So then I took these acrylic panels and cut them in such a way that I was trying to sort of mirror the look of the outside of the case with those 45-degree angles. So that's more or less what I was going for here. And then behind the reservoir, where you would normally see all of those panels that the hard drive bays mount to, I don't like seeing all that busy mess, so I went ahead and created a panel and put that back there as well. So not only bring more silver into the interior, but also just kind of cleans the look up. Sort of did the same back here with a piece of acrylic, and then up top I cleaned that up as well. Again, this is all acrylic and it's skinned with vinyl. You can paint the acrylic, but for me, I prefer to use vinyl mainly because I just don't really have a good place to paint. And when you paint, then you got to wait for it to cure. It could hold you up in your build process, whereas you can just slap some vinyl on this stuff and get a really nice finish in almost no time at all. So that's really the main reason I go that route. This is a custom shroud for the basement. Now, I haven't removed the entire original steel that's down here, but this particular configuration with the reservoir and the pump and using these singularity mounts didn't fit in the normal opening that is native in this case. So since I was going to have to Dremel it out anyway, I went ahead and Dremeled all the way over and cut a decent sized section out, basically over to where the power supply would end. And then I actually built this with like a tinted, I shouldn't say clear, but you know what I'm getting at. It's like meant to be more of a windowed acrylic. And then I skinned it with matte black vinyl, and then I just cut this window out here so that I could see all of these custom cables down here coming out of the power supply. I thought it was kind of a neat look, something different. It was a way to add some sort of interesting visual element down here. I think if it was just all black, it would have been real boring. And then I did put a single LED down in here to sort of highlight that, and then also cast some interesting little lighting on the pump top and the D5 pump cover here. So I'm going to go ahead and go over the configuration real quick because I know people are going to ask. CPU is a 7700K. It is delidded. I have not taken the time to see how far I can push it, but I will say that delidding it did make about an 18 degrees Celsius improvement in temperatures at load, and that was me clocking it at 4.7. So if you're considering doing it, it really was not that difficult. I used a rocket kit, and it was, I would say it took an hour, maybe not even that. And then of course you got to let the adhesive dry when you relit it. But yeah, for the improvement that you get, it's definitely worth doing. As I said in the beginning, a 1080 Ti, which for a long time I just had a 1080 until I finally was able to get my hands on this. 950 Pro, 256. When I flip it around, you'll see in the back I've got two 500 gig 850 Evos in RAID 0, and I don't have any hard drives in this. So I've got the Black Ice Nemesis 360 at the front. It's a 30 mil radiator, and then this is a Bits Power 250 mil reservoir, the Bits Power top, and a PWM D5 is actually an EK pump in there, and then I've got the Black Sparkle modded cover for the D5 pump. So used all fittings. I didn't do any bends in this build. The reason I didn't is because originally I had intended to swap out this acrylic with either polished brass or glass, but now that I'm going to be disassembling this and doing something new in a different case, I'm not going to bother with it. But that's why I used all fittings rather than doing any bends. I kind of like it both ways. The fittings give a nice kind of bling effect, so I know some people have a preference one way or another. I can appreciate both methods. So I don't think when it comes to do your build, I don't think there's any rule as to whether or not you should bend your tubing or use fittings. I think it's a lot of its preference and sort of a look that you're going for. And then of course the full nickel EK CPU block, which is actually just absolutely gorgeous. I love this thing. So I've used a lot of the black acetal and the plexi ones. This is my first time using full nickel, and I'm really, really happy with it. So then I just have a single 120 as exhaust in the rear. I wasn't sure if I was going to go 140 or 120, but I just, I don't know. I put this guy in here because it was handy. So, and then I ran all my tubing up above the top here, and the goal was that obviously when you look at this kind of straight on, you're not really seeing a whole lot of tubing, and that was to sort of enhance this really clean look that I was going for. I don't want to call it basic because obviously a lot of work went into this, but I really just wanted each individual component in detail to be recognizable without making this too busy and sort of complicating the look of the inside. And then as always, I did do my own sleeved cables, so you'll see more of that when I flip it around to the back. So that I think pretty well covers everything in the front here. Oh, I should mention this is Mayhem's Red Aurora. It's pretty cool. It's not nearly as noticeable as the blue as far as the effect goes. I got some bubbles built up in here, but that's going to get flushed soon anyway, so that's not really that big a deal. But yeah, originally I was going to use just a clear fluid just to keep with this monochromatic theme. But when it came time, I decided to go ahead and just add a little bit of flash of color. So that's more or less how I settled on that. But realistically, since this thing's not staying assembled for very long, it's not really that big a deal because I can just, swap it out if I want to do something different in the next build. So, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but we'll see. But yeah, that pretty well, like I said, sums it up. I hope I've shown you guys enough of what's going on in the front here so you can get a pretty good idea sort of how I did this. And then I'm going to go ahead and spin this around so we can try to get a good look at the backside, which I did put quite a bit of effort into the back as well. Seeing how this case does have the tempered glass back panel, and even though you probably don't see that very much, just knowing that it's there is enough reason for me to spend a little bit of time trying to sort of clean up the look. So here's sort of an overall view. Right away on the left, again, this is pretty much the exact same thing I did on the front side. I just skinned a piece of acrylic in silver, covered up all of the empty, sort of flex bay mounts, and then kind of created this really clean look back here. This is a Mod My Toys fan hub or fan splitter, whatever you want to call it, for PWM. And then, I cut to custom length all the fan cables so I didn't have any excess stuff bunching up all over the place. And then, of course, sleeved everything. And you can see how I've got everything routed here. I probably should spend a little bit more time. I could probably do a better job getting these routed a little bit cleaner. But the lengths are really good on all this stuff to where when I need to get in here and work, it's real easy for me to unplug stuff, pull it out, and plug it back in. If you have to get in to your drain valve, which I've got here on the back side, or get at any of the cables in here. When you don't have all of the excess cables bunched up all over the place, it makes it a lot easier to go back in and work on any of that stuff when you need to. So I'm not going to dwell on all this too much. I guess I'll go ahead and talk about this real quick since I'm sure you're wondering. This is actually a 3-pin fan controller, but I use it for my lights, my dark side LEDs. These knobs here give really awesome control as far as dimming the LEDs go. So I found this to be a lot better than using the pins on the motherboard. Even though a lot of the motherboards allow you to change the percentage of power going to the 12-volt source, it's not as smooth as using an actual fan controller. So this really allows me to dial in how bright I want my LEDs to be in the case, and I highly recommend for anyone trying to get a good lighting effect on the inside of the case to use dimmable LEDs and have multiple light zones so that you can really highlight the interior in the exact way that you would like to. And it kind of goes a long way. So other than that, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up just for the sake of making sure that this video doesn't get too long. But as always, I appreciate you guys taking a look at these videos. I really enjoy the feedback, good or bad. Suggestions, questions, whatever it may be. I try to do a good job answering any questions. So feel free to leave comments. If you like the video, I'd appreciate a like, and then if you'd like to see more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll do my best to. I'm trying to set a goal for myself where I put out a video every week-ish, give or take a day. So we'll see how that goes, but that's sort of what I'm trying to do. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this one off, and I hope you guys have a good day. Thanks.